STIHL Timbersports 2019, very, very important day. The most important day of the year, the day in which we crown a national champion for 2019. Tommy Sanders here with Kevin Holtz. We've been through the semifinals yesterday. 20 had qualified from around the country, split into 2 pools, and 5 from each pool have made it here. There are your qualifiers, and the name that towers over everyone else, of course, 6-time champion Matt Koger. The rest of the guys are chasing him, and that's a tall mountain to climb, Kevin.
Yeah, you know, I thought I had my mind made up weeks ago about who I was looking at and what we were going to see and who was going to have the best chance of dethroning Matt Koger if he is to be dethroned. And I'm looking at guys like Matt Slingerland and Jason Lynch. And then I said, geez, what about Walt Page? Man, he's coming on really strong. And then you pull up Cassidy Shear for the past 3 years. He's been just running like a house of fire. Then all of a sudden you meet Nate Hodges, and this rookie comes out of nowhere and is just making a mess of the place. So you could throw, I don't know, half a dozen names out there, and they've all got a shot at taking down Matt Koger.
And to do that, they have to advance through the knockout rounds. Round 1, our 10 competitors will compete in 3 events: the underhand, the stock saw, and the standing block. Then only our top 8 advance after that round into round 2. In this round, they'll compete in the single buck and the springboard. 6 athletes with the most points after round 2 advance to the final round. The remaining field of 6 survivors will compete in the hot saw. This unpredictable event will be the final competition to decide the winner of the championship, which elevates the stress of making 3 clean cuts. The athlete who survives these knockout rounds with the most points will be crowned this year's STIHL Timbersports U.S. champion. So let's get it started with the underhand.
Don't blink in the underhand chop. This is one of the fastest events in timber sports. The elite athletes will be hitting the log in less than 1 second per hit. They will chop the front half of the log using their $700 axe. After they cut the front half of the log, the transition to the back is seamless. In less than 1 second, the axe is into the back side of the log. A 2 and 2 pattern, removing the chips. Then when you get close to the center, you have to be confident. Using precision, accuracy, power, you will drive the log off. Seems dangerous, right? It's actually one of the safest events. And yes, they are wearing a chainmail sock protection underneath their shoes.
Well, we started with 20. We are down to 10. Tommy Sanders and Kevin Holtz here, and we're going to start it with the underhand. 3 events, Kevin, all with the standard points, and we start with Matt Marks and Calvin Willard. Marks on the left, Willard on the right.
Yeah, this is going to be a day of attrition. We lose 2 after the first 3 disciplines, so these guys are in go mode. We gave Matt Marks a new nickname this morning. He's now known as Meh, because that's kind of been his attitude going into this, and it's working. He is calm, he's cool, he's collected, he's putting the hits down where he needs to go. He did not have enough going on there to take down Calvin Willard, though. Calvin Willard spraying a few hits into the backside of that block, but he made it work, muscles through that white pine.
Calvin Willard bettering his time from the semifinals, cut at 20.698 seconds for Matthew Marks, 26.627. Mike Slingerland and Walt Page. Mike Slingerland at age 55 qualifying for the top 10 of this championship. He's been with STIHL Timbersports since the beginning. Walt Page going to be a tough customer to beat.
3, 2, 1, go!
We were talking about this earlier today. I sat down with Mike Slingerland just hanging out in the arena before the event started, and he is all smiles. I walked right up to him and said, "Congratulations, Mr. Finalist." And he said, "I know it, hashtag SFO, short, fat, old." That's what he says. Tell you what, though, he's putting on a good chop. It's not going to be enough to take Walt Page down. Got himself a little bit pinched in on the back of that block, stepped those hits in, ran out of real estate. I think he's just gunning a little too hard in that underhand, and he just got ahead of himself on that one. Here's a look at Walt Page. A real great cut. I can't say it enough. I have absolutely enjoyed watching Walt Page evolve from a collegiate athlete to a professional athlete. His development just in the past 5 years or so has just been epic.
We got an official time for Walt Page at 20.81. So yeah, that's an improvement over his semifinal round time in the underhand chop. We're looking at number 4 there, Cassidy Shear. On Stand number 1. Cassidy going up against the sensation, really, you have to say, of the semifinals. Nate Hodges, his first year in STIHL Timbersports, and he blew it away, won 3 of the 6 disciplines yesterday. He's a strong, strong competitor.
I got to be honest, I didn't give this guy nearly enough credit coming in here yesterday. Yes, he was #1 qualifier in the Western region, but you know what? That's kind of a home field advantage. I said, you know what? Get any of these new guys under the lights, the camera, the action. But when he came out for this springboard, he cracked a smile over at Mike Slinger. I said, you know what? He's just relaxed. And he talked about that. He said, you know, I'm on the stage with my friends. This is just another competition. And that attitude and his speed carried him yesterday. Put on an absolute clinic and put a lot of guys on high alert.
3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah, sensation is one word. I call it an anomaly. I thought yesterday we'd see the wheels come off the cart for Nate Hodges, and he didn't just hold it together, he accelerated. He is a bit behind Cassidy Shear. Cassidy Shear in semifinals yesterday was like a man running downhill. He was good at some points and fell on his face at others, but here he is. Look at this race between Cassidy Shear and Nate Hodges. What a finish from these two. Oh, no, no, no.
Well, let's listen to the start. That'd be the way, one way to try to identify whether he jumped the starter pistol.
I think he was fine on that. I mean, maybe worth looking at, but Rich Hallett's already on his way back out.
After review, we've determined that both cuts are good.
All right, big sigh of relief for Nate Hodges.
Hey, Cassidy, you said when you were 14 years old, you started cutting underhands. You actually cut yourself, but it didn't faze you. Now you're one of the top-ranked underhand cutters in the world.
Yeah, no, I enjoy chopping underhands. It was the first chop I learned, first chop I got good at. Oddly enough, it's kind of my weakest chop right now, but yeah, I'm happy with that cut. Maybe could have gotten in one hit earlier, but I kept the axe moving, never stuck. I'm content with that cut.
Great cut, though, Cass.
Thanks. Thanks, everybody. Woo! Yeah.
Cassidy Shear just managing to shade Nate Hodges there. Shear's official time, 19.195, ahead of Nate Hodges, 19.434. 2 good cuts right there. Nate Hodges cutting right about what he did in the semis, but Cassidy making about a 2-second improvement there. Well, don't go anywhere. We're just getting started here in Milwaukee, where we have 2 heats in the underhand remaining.
He's driven the bottom. He's coming at that lug. Here comes Hodges. 1/2 swing. It does not get closer than that.
STIHL Timbersports on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by STIHL, maker of a full line of gasoline and battery-powered handheld outdoor power equipment. Find yours at STIHLUSA.com. By Duluth Trading Company, the official workwear sponsor of STIHL Timbersports. And by John Deere, nothing runs like a deer.
Welcome back to Milwaukee. This is the STIHL Timbersports National Championship. We are headed into our final 2 underhand heats. The time of 19.20 laid down by Cassidy Shear. In this next heat, we have 2 competitors with great lumberjack pedigrees, Matt Slingerland and
3,
Jason Lynch.
2, 1, go!
These guys literally grew up chopping wood together. You know, as you mentioned, Tommy, multi-generational family. They've heard a lot of the same lessons over and over from their own fathers. And look at this, turned in sync. Matt Slingerland dangerously close to that foothold, and the axe hangs up. That gave Jason Lynch just a hair, just a window of opportunity. No! Matt Slingerland, speaking of hair, that mullet blowing in the breeze, knocks the block off just ahead of Jason Lynch. So right out of the gate, they're together, 2-2 pattern. It's looking good, but Slingerland's pace just starts to run away from Jason Lynch. They both turn at the same time. There's that hang-up I was talking about, and this is where it's absolute go time.
Matt did a little fist pump there, then you looked at me and you shook your head. You really defied physics with the amount of wood you drove there. Would you do it the same again?
Of course not, Dave. Had a great front. It's really good wood. I just got a little excited in the back. I wanted to get it off fast. I should have went one over and would have came off a little faster, but it's all good.
There it is, Matt Slingerland with 18.523, taking over the lead, just ahead of Cassidy Shear. Nate Hodges hangs in there in 3rd. Jason Lynch with a 22.99, and certainly not his best. That is it's about 5 seconds slower than he cut it in the semis. Well, a new face and a very familiar face on the left. That is Mark Quinn. Made his own splash yesterday as a first-timer here in the championships, and going up against probably the toughest test he'll face all day, 6 times. 6 consecutive national championships on the line today for Matthew Koger.
Year 7, I'm feeling really good. There's very little nervousness. I think if there is any kind of, I guess, jitters, it's like that excitement to go again, and just here we are and perform the best I can, and really just going all out for it. Because I mean, you got some guys that are going to be going for it as well, but you know, I'm not necessarily worried about how they go. I mean, I do want them to do well, of course, but just for my own sake, I'm ready to go too.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh man, and we saw this a lot yesterday. Mark Quinn is right on those goes. He's looking for, oh, he's around already. Oh boy, I am worried that Mark Quinn may have taken out a loan on the front side of that log, and he's gonna have to pay it back.
Oh yeah.
Matt Koger made him pay it back. An unofficial 15-2-5 showing on the boards.
Going for his 7th consecutive U.S. title, Matt Koger from West Virginia. Right there, just showing his incredible consistency.
Look at the opening blows from Matt Koger. Went way low on his first opening blows, drew a huge slab of wood. Matt has just done so much work on the front side of that log. Tons of slope, blows it apart.
You know, Matt Koger, he's such a nice, approachable guy. We never see him mad, but I saw when you stuck that first hit, you couldn't pull it out. You didn't look happy, and all of a sudden, the Matt Koger we've all seen came out.
Yeah, it kind of gets you a little upset and stirred up, and you're like, yeah, I want to really nail this thing now. And yeah, it kind of threw me off guard just a hair, you know. I put the axe in, it went really well. I mean, I knew that was the axe I wanted to use, and it was the right choice. I just probably wasn't quite prepared to handle it.
We're going to let you get ready for the stock side. There he is, the best in the country, maybe the best in the world, Matt Koger.
And Matt Koger's official time, a 14.46, almost a full second faster than he cut it in the semifinals. Matt Slingerland, Cassidy Shear, Nate Hodges. We're now starting to look at that number 8 position. 9 and 10 will not pass after the next 2 disciplines are done. We will hit the next discipline. We return to Milwaukee for the championships right after this.
One thing working in the woods with these saws, it's another thing racing.
This is the 2019 STIHL Timbersports National Championships coming to you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But now we are ready to move into our next discipline, the stock saw. To tell us more about our next event, here's Dave Jewett, the Duluth Trading Company Discipline Review.
STIHL Timbersports, STIHL Chainsaw. Competitors on an even playing field. This is the stock saw. The STIHL stock saw, 2 competitors going head-to-head with identically tuned MS661 chainsaws. After a 15-second warm-up, all 8 fingers must be crossing that line. On go, with speed, they retrieve the saw. With precision, they enter the saw into the wood, listening to the RPMs, feeling the saw cutting through the wood, severing that first clean disc. Then, the perfect transition, and again, with precision, entering the log for the upcut. Hopefully seeing 2 complete discs on the ground, and of course this 4-inch line remaining for a leading cut.
There emerges Walt Page. He'll be going up against Calvin Willard. The first heat of the stock saw competition, the second of these 3 disciplines, which will decide the first cut. 2 competitors will be dropped after these first 3 disciplines, and right now, Walt Page in 7th place, Calvin Willard in 6th place.
These guys are looking to shave hundreds of seconds off their time, because that might make the difference between 4th and 3rd, or 2nd and 1st, or in the case of Poulet yesterday, 1st and last. It was absolute insanity.
Go!
Advantage Walt Page on the start, just a little bit quicker to the block. These guys are together though at the finish. That means Calvin Willard's moving more through the wood. Oh, Calvin Willard asked just a little too much of that saw at the end. And Tommy, that's what we've been talking about. These guys are pushing for every fraction of a second they can, and a lot of it they're trying to gain, or a portion of it they're trying to gain at the top of that log. Take another look here as these guys are up into the wood. Actually, it was closer at the start than I thought. I thought Walt had a little more on him than he did. Great switch over from Calvin Willard. Here's where trouble goes on. You can see Walt Page loads up and rips through. Calvin just asked a little too much.
Both cuts are good.
There it is, a 10.46. He cut an 11.18 yesterday. Well, coming up next, Mike Slingerland versus Nate Hodges, and we We are just getting to know this outstanding performer. Mike Slingerland cut a 10.64 yesterday to win the semifinal stock saw competition.
Well, and he is one of the guys that is just an absolute student of the sport, has cut hundreds and hundreds of cuts. Look at how flawless that changeover was from Mike Slingerland. Wow! He is going to be right there with Walt Page, maybe ahead of Walt Page. I know the unofficial clock shows that he's past Walt Page, but
he's cut so many at such a high level. He knows every way to get the job done.
Well, he mentioned earlier today, he is one of the last of two guys that get on the inside of that log as opposed to standing on the outside of the log. Big difference for Mike Slingerland.
We said this is such a test of nerves, and Mike, you got done. You looked over at me, shrugged your shoulders, and you said, oh, that went all right.
Yeah, it went all right. One little mistake, it probably cost me about a tenth, maybe 15/100ths. But overall, you know, good start, good switch, just getting a little too greedy, being a little too aggressive with the saw.
Well, his official time, you see it right there, 10:41. Last time around in the semifinals, he cut a 10:64. He wasn't close. He was 14/100ths of a second, not 15/100ths of a second. All right, Mark Boquin, another look at Mark Boquin, who we got our first look at yesterday. As far as these championships go, big man, powerful man from New York going up against the most powerful man in the United States 6 years running,
to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, bobble for Boquin. Wow.
Double whammy for Mark Boquin. Matt Coger is not waiting around, but there must have been trouble for Coger as well, because Boquin is reeling him in. That came down. I gotta watch this again.
All right.
I was so focused on the bobbles on stand 1. Something had to have happened on stand 2. I don't know how Mark Boquin reeled him in. He grabbed a handful of chain brake, double clutched the start of that. You can see the partial cut there at the top. And then this race came out way closer than I ever would have thought.
Well, I think Matt Coger got him, but just barely, Nosed him out by a few 100ths of a second. As a matter of fact, Matthew Coger cut it a little faster than he did in the semifinals. That's not good news for everyone else in this field right here, but he's not usually delivering good news to those guys on a year-to-year basis, but good effort from both and good racing. But he's got 2 more heats remaining. Will it stand up? This and more when we return to Milwaukee for the STIHL Timbersports National Championships.
STIHL Timbersports on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by STIHL, maker of a full line of gasoline and battery-powered handheld outdoor power equipment. Find yours at STIHLUSA.com. By Duluth Trading Company, the official workwear sponsor of STIHL Timbersports. And by John Deere, nothing runs like a deer.
Welcome back to Milwaukee. This is the 2019 STIHL Timbersports National Championships. We are in our second discipline of the competition, the stock saw. Mike Slingerland has set the time to beat at 10.41 with 2 heats remaining.
Got the feel we're going to see a pretty serious race here. Both these guys are technicians. Both these guys, you see tape measures coming out, crayon marks going on, foot position. They're really going through every detail of what's going to happen here for the next 10 or 11 seconds. Both these guys up, feet locked to that stage. You don't see a lot of shuffle. You don't see a lot of movement. They want to keep their body positions the same so they're clean and consistent through the cut.
Wow. Called that one. Matt Slingerland had him at every turn, every transition until the last quarter of that disc.
Look at Matt Slingerland, quicker, cleaner to the block than Cassidy Shear. Let's watch the switch. I say Matt Slingerland was quicker, cleaner through that switch than Cassidy Shear was. Cassidy Shear is beating him through the wood.
1/100th of a second separating Matt Slingerland victorious over Cassidy Shear in that heat. Mike Slingerland still on top. Final heat, top 2 seeds in the stock saw. There he is, Jason Lynch.
The top seeded, he's running with Matt Marks in heat number 5 in the STIHL Timbersports Championship.
Matt Marks had the best stock saw time of all the semifinals yesterday. Pool A and B, 10.46.
Go!
Wow, very quick to the wood for Matt Marks. Jason Lynch is gonna have to reel him in. Look how far ahead he is at the switch. Wow, what a nut. Look at that unofficial time.
Matt Marks may well have broken 10 seconds. That's almost unthinkable, considering what the scores have been this week. Yeah, he knows it. That fast performance is our John Deere power play. Nothing runs like a deer.
Look at how fast he was on the first cut, getting that saw to the block. Clean, thin, straight cut, rips the top off. Beautiful work from Matt Marks.
You said you've been home working on your hay field, you've been baling hay. You haven't had much time to train, but you had enough time to grow the Timber Sports mustache, and this guy knows how to run a stock saw. You want to give up some secrets?
Well, secrets don't make friends, Dave, so I don't have a lot to give up, honestly. But I'd like to thank my wife and my support group, and I'm really happy with what STIHL has done here. And German Fest is awesome, and I'm having a great time, so thank you everybody for coming out, and enjoy the day.
All right, we're going to wait on his time. Matt Marks.
Well, there's your official time for Matthew Marks, a 10.01, just blowing this field away here today in Milwaukee and setting a new U.S. record in the stock saw. Just an unbelievable time. And now for the all-important STIHL Timbersports overall points after our first two events. Matt Slingerland on top with 16 points, just 2 points ahead of Cassidy Shear, and just 3 points back sits our 6-time STIHL Timbersports champion, Matthew Koger. But the real story is at the bottom of our points. After the next event, the standing block will be losing 2 of our competitors. As it stands right now, that would be Mark Boquin and Calvin Willard. So join us here in Milwaukee next time where we continue our competition and crown the next STIHL Timbersports U.S. champion. For Kevin Holtz, I'm Tommy Sanders. We'll see you then.
Matt Marks, right around 10 seconds flat.